Most men over 60 have no idea they're doing this wrong, and the damage is quiet. No alarm, no warning, just a slow, invisible decline that most doctors won't bring up, and most men never think to ask about. What if the habits you've carried for decades are now working against your body instead of with it? What if the rules changed after 60 and nobody told you? 7 mistakes. One of them is so common it's almost universal. And the last one, most men never catch it until it's already cost them. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear changes how you take care of yourself from this point forward. Here's something important before we go any further. If you've never heard this information before, that's not a failure on your part. That is a failure of the system around you. Sexual health for older men is one of the most under-discussed topics in medicine. Your doctor has 7 minutes with you. This doesn't come up. Your friends don't talk about it. And the culture treats male sexuality over 60 as either a joke or an afterthought. Nobody taught you how your body changes after 60. Nobody explained what healthy sexual function looks like at this stage of life. You were just expected to figure it out or quietly give up. You are not broken. You are simply uninformed. And the fact that you're here, paying attention to your own health, already puts you ahead of most men your age. Welcome back. This channel is where we take men's health seriously, with honesty, science, and zero embarrassment. As someone who studies male physiology and the psychology around aging and intimacy closely, I'm going to walk you through something most men in their 60s and beyond desperately need to hear. Here's what's actually happening in your body after 60, and why it matters for everything we're about to cover. Testosterone doesn't fall off a cliff overnight. It declines gradually, but the effects compound. Blood flow changes. Nerve sensitivity shifts. Recovery time lengthens. The physiological landscape of your 60s is genuinely different from your 40s, and what worked then can create real problems now. Your body isn't broken. It's operating under a different set of conditions. The mistake most men make is continuing the same patterns without adjusting to those conditions. Here's exactly how it breaks down. The first mistake is frequency without recovery. Many men over 60 maintain the same frequency habits they had decades ago, without accounting for the fact that recovery time has genuinely lengthened with age. The prostate, pelvic floor muscles, and vascular tissue all need more time to reset after 60. Pushing that too fast creates low-grade chronic fatigue in those systems. Think about a man who notices he's been feeling persistently tired in the lower pelvic region, a dull ache he writes off as just getting older. He's not imagining it. His body is telling him it needs more space between sessions. This isn't about doing less, it's about doing it smarter. The second mistake is using a grip that's too tight, what urologists sometimes call death grip syndrome. Over years and decades, many men gradually increase pressure without realizing it. The problem is that desensitization follows. The nerve endings in penile tissue require very gentle stimulation to remain responsive. Consistent excessive pressure can blunt that sensitivity over time. And after 60, when natural sensitivity is already shifting, this compounds significantly. Imagine trying to hear a quiet sound in a room where the volume has been turned down, and then adding static on top of that. That's what's happening neurologically. Less force, more presence. That's the correction. But here's where it gets interesting. The third mistake is ignoring cardiovascular connection. Sexual function and heart health share the same pipeline, literally. Erection quality is one of the earliest and most reliable indicators of cardiovascular health in men. The same arterial health that supports the heart supports sexual function. Men who dismiss declining performance as simply aging often miss an important biological signal their body is sending. This isn't about embarrassment, it's about paying attention to what your body is communicating. If this is resonating with you so far, take a moment and save this video. What comes next is where most men realize exactly where things started going wrong. The fourth mistake is doing this completely disconnected, purely mechanical, purely habitual. Here's something the research consistently shows. Sexual function in older men is deeply tied to psychological engagement, not just physical stimulation. The brain is involved in every stage of arousal. Men who approach this on autopilot, distracted, rushed, just going through the motions, are training their nervous system toward a disconnected response. Over time, that disconnection shows up as difficulty achieving or maintaining arousal. even when physically there's nothing wrong. Presence isn't just a mental health concept, it's a physiological one. Most men stop here, don't. Now, a man named Gerald, 67, a retired high school science teacher, someone who'd always been thoughtful about his health, found himself quietly confused in a way he couldn't name. He'd noticed over about 2 years that something had shifted, not dramatically, just a gradual pulling back from his own body, a kind of indifference he hadn't chosen. He was doing everything the same way he always had. That was exactly the problem. When he finally spoke with his urologist and made 3 small adjustments, to frequency, to approach, and to something we'll get to in a moment, he described the change as getting a part of himself back he didn't realize he'd been losing. He never told anyone, but he didn't have to. And this next one, almost no one talks about it. The 5th mistake is using pornography as the primary stimulus, especially high stimulation, high novelty content. This is not a moral statement. It's a neurological one. The brain's dopamine reward system responds to novelty and escalation. Over time, with repeated high stimulation input, the threshold for arousal rises. This means real-world intimacy, which is quieter, warmer, and less extreme, begins to feel less stimulating by comparison. For men over 60 whose arousal response is already more measured, this gap becomes significant. The brain can be recalibrated, but it requires reducing the input to allow natural sensitivity to return. She's real. The connection is real. Train your brain accordingly. The 6th mistake is doing this in a dehydrated, physically tense state. Pelvic floor function, which is directly involved in sexual response and ejaculatory health, is dramatically affected by hydration and muscle tension. Most men over 60 are chronically mildly dehydrated and carry significant pelvic tension they've never addressed. The result is reduced sensation, reduced control, and sometimes discomfort that gets attributed to age when it's actually correctable. Drink water, address tension through stretching, walking, or pelvic floor work. It sounds almost too simple. It isn't. And now, the final one. The one most men never reach, and the one that changes everything. The 7th mistake is treating this part of life as something to get through rather than something to consciously maintain. After 60, sexual health does not maintain itself passively. It requires intentional attention, just like cardiovascular fitness, just like sleep, just like nutrition. Men who adopt that mindset, who treat this as an active, ongoing part of their physical and emotional well-being, consistently report better function, better mood, better relationship quality, and a stronger overall sense of vitality well into their 70s and beyond. The men who drift, who let habit and neglect take over, lose something they didn't realize was slipping until it was already gone. This is not aging. This is a choice. So let's bring it together. Frequency without recovery, excessive pressure and desensitization, ignoring what your cardiovascular system is telling you, mechanical disconnection, high stimulation dependency, dehydration and pelvic tension, and the deepest one, passive resignation instead of active maintenance. These aren't shameful mistakes. They're uninformed ones. And now you know, this isn't about performance pressure. It's not about measuring yourself against some standard. It's about understanding your own body well enough to take care of it. Fully, honestly, without embarrassment. The man who understands this doesn't fight his age. He works with it. He shows up for himself. If this gave you something real today, please like this video and subscribe. Hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. And drop the word aware in the comments if this opens something up for you. It helps more than you know. Before you close this and go back to routine, my next video covers the 5 physical signs that your testosterone and vascular health may need attention right now. Signs that show up quietly, that most men rationalize away. If you leave without watching it, you're only seeing half of what your body is trying to tell you. Pay attention. Your body has been speaking.